At Hamilton High School, turns out what the news is saying, I'm just repeating what the news said. 11-year-old and a 10-year-old were involved in a stabbing at Hamilton High School on Friday morning. According to the Memphis Police Department, the altercation began the day before over a cell phone. And when the victim allegedly told the suspect that she and her friends was going to jump her, the suspect felt threatened, told the police she brought a knife to school from home, and she stabbed her in the back. The discussion escalated and it continued over into the cafeteria, and that's where she stabbed her. And so when the police asked her what happened, she said, well, I felt threatened, so I brought a knife to school. So I wanted to ask your input and your engagement from your seat. What do you think is the real issue there with this person bringing a knife to school? Multiple people. Say it again. It's multiple people and hazardous on. Okay. Okay. Mr. Simpson has here. Anybody else with some thoughts? What are your thoughts about this situation where this young lady brought a knife to school? And your thoughts about something that happened on a Thursday over a cell phone that escalated all throughout the day? Because this happened around 11 o'clock. So what time does school start? 7. So she said, we're going to jump you. The next day, they going to jump her. And so she felt as if she needed to protect herself. This is what I'm thinking. So I'm asking you, what are y'all thinking? What was the scenario? What was playing out?
I feel this. She felt that she needed to protect herself, but a better way for her to handle that solution, she could have went to the school office or doctor perfectly to tell them about the situation, so she can have at least backups before she do anything crazy. At least somebody would know before she do anything crazy. I feel like that would have been a better.
Okay. Did you hear her, Simpson? Now in the real world, is that real? Would y'all have done that if that would happen to you? Yeah. Keep it real. Keep it real. You was gonna say something, Miss Georgette.
I feel like the security and things too, and because how she would get the life in the first place without any checks, like little protection and stuff.
Right. Good point.
I feel like another thing could be like I understand like the I agree with Georgette and what's your name? And Tariana. She really could. It would have made more sense if she did get backup from other people, and also the security is very lax. But another perspective to think of is there a reason why she felt, or maybe she felt as though she couldn't go to anyone else for help? Maybe she experienced something where she's going through something and no one was there to help her. So maybe she felt as though there's no point in getting help from anyone else because she's experienced something like this before.
Right. And going back to what Miss Georgette said, think about the question we asked last week. When you're challenged and someone addresses you in a harsh way, do you have somebody that you could talk to? And I asked who was the people you talked to. Some said your pastor, some said a teacher, some said your parents. So apparently she didn't feel like she could talk to her parents about what had happened that day. Do you feel like if it happened to you at school that you would have a parent to talk to? Yeah. So is there someone else that you would go to if that had come to you in such a situation or circumstance? Go ahead, Jeremiah. You want to get involved in our conversation? Okay, come on now. We got to see right here. Go ahead.
A close friend. A close friend.
A close friend.
Guidance, a teacher.
Right.
Yeah. I agree. I could like for me personally, I have a lot of like police officers in my family anyway. So like I have family.
Oh, you got backup.
And I have a bunch of friends and things like that who also have people who do security and things of that nature. So I know I have decent support systems.
Okay. Anyone else? You get your You gonna say something? Someone else gonna say something? Well, think about this situation because we're not saying that it happens all the time, but as the weather heats up, sometimes our emotions heat up, our circumstances heat up. How do we deal with bullying? Has there been a time where I have been the bully and maybe I need to step down? Because if I'm telling you, yeah, I'm getting you tomorrow and I'm bringing some backup with me and we're going to jump you today. Before the day out, you're going to get got. So how do you deal with that? When I'm the bully and I realize I don't went too far. Because we're talking about leaders. Because we call ourselves leader. As a leader, and I realize I'm going too far with this because I'm manipulating the situation. I'm being an influencer in a negative way. What happens when our influence is not positive?
It reflects on you.
Yeah.
Your image go a long way. So I don't feel like bullying was like a big thing. But you could always pay bullying no mind. You could always tell the person how they're treating you. If they still can't understand how they treat you, like I said, you could go to someone else. Or then you could just always ignore the person like that.
Right.
Like there's
It's first, like you said, first saying, "Hey, that's not good." Or first, I don't appreciate that, or that was disrespectful. You don't have to call me out of my name. My name is Vanessa. You know, those type of things. And then when they continue, then we can let somebody else know. Because the first thing they're going to ask you is, did you tell anyone? And then they're going to ask you, did you tell them that you didn't like that, the way they treated you, the way they spoke to you? Because sometimes people think, I was just playing, it was just a joke. And really, it can escalate and get to something worse. Any other thoughts? Y'all have a question? Okay, what is your opinion about someone bringing a weapon to school? Because this knife was considered a weapon, right?
Yeah.
It never should have made it through the detector. And some people say it should have never made it out of the house.
I feel like it should have. Like, I feel like it never should have made it to the house. I feel like it's the responsibility of not only like the school to make sure that you don't. That certain things don't make it to school. That's the reason why a lot of schools, like high schools, have metal detectors, things that scan your bag, scan your purses, and things like that. Another thing is, before you leave the house, it should be the parents' responsibility to make sure that, hey, my child is going to school with the things they need to, and nothing more than that. Another thing is, it's also like the responsibility of the person themselves is bringing a weapon or whatever to see like, is this a smart idea? Is this really good for me?
So this person thought about this for a while. They thought about it for more than an hour. Because this happened on the Thursday, and here it is Friday morning. They thought about that thing. So you gonna say something?
no, I disagree with him when he just says.
Okay. Anyone else thoughts on that? That this weapon made it into the school? Because Miss Georgette is on. Them detectives should have been on. Them security should have said something. And Kylan is saying it should have started at home as well. Meantime, we put a lot of responsibility on the schools. Any thoughts? Okay, the other thing I have, how do you think, in your position, how do you think we should address violence in our schools? What do you think can be done to address violence? Or can anything be done to address it?
I was gonna say, I really feel like to address violence, I feel like one thing to do is to really put in perspective like what the violence is pertaining to, whether it be like you add like whether it be self defense, whether it be like bullying, or like you started or I'm defending myself. I feel like it really depends on like what perspective we're going for, or like what's all being considered and what violence is. And then you can take the necessary precautions to prevent or to deal with it. Because if someone's defending themselves, then they shouldn't have the same penalty as someone who's doing the actions. And the person doing the action should have a severe consequence. That way they can think about why they got to do it. Give them time to reflect on what it was that they did.
Right, right. Anyone else? Well, going back to some of the sessions that Ms. Tanika presented, some of the presenters that came and talked about leadership, what about setting those healthy boundaries? Like, I know you talked about knowing when to walk away. You have somebody that's having to get up in your face, you know, and sometimes when it's a crowd, there's a whole bunch of people, that don't seem so good to humble yourself and walk off.
All right. But then sometimes during the argument, it's like you gotta like know what it is to hear and what it is not to hear. You gotta know the difference of what's important and what's not. So sometimes you just say okay and just keep pushing. If they too close, just step back. You know, just you gotta set your own boundaries. Keep it.
It's true, and having some healthy values also. Anyone else?
Yeah, I mean, I agree. There's another thing, like another thing to keep in mind is that yeah, you can think about said think about what to hear and what not to hear and kind of back up with their another thing to think about is the fact that sometimes even when you yourself know your boundaries and know what you can and cannot handle,
Right.
there are still people who are not going to care and are going to push and see just what ticks you off. Which goes back to what I said before, you really gotta think about who's doing what in the situation because I can sit here and I can sit here and just mind my business. You bothering me, I'm ignoring you. But once you start doing things, putting your hands on me, things like that, then it's like now you're actively destroying every wall and boundary that I'm putting up. You're actively saying you don't care, and then it gets to a point where like, hey, there's only so much a person can deal with before there's going to be reaction.
Yeah. And so think about, even in our businesses, if you're gonna be, future business owners, entrepreneurs, you're gonna be making these millions of dollars and somebody's gonna come to you, with something that they disagree. They may get in your face about something, they don't like your services or how you treated them. And sometimes they may be at the wrong office, they may have the wrong company. And they may accuse you of some things. So knowing your boundaries, knowing your values, and at the end of the day, is it worth it? At the end of the day, is it worth it? And do you have someone that you can talk to? You have someone you can reach out to. So those are the things that we just wanted to share. We know that things happens in the schools, and we don't want to just dust it under the rug and you guys have to cope with it. We want you to be able to express yourself and have somebody you can talk to about it. Even some people want to take to social media, but we ask you to find someone that you can really get face to face with and express yourself. Not sometimes you don't want an answer, sometimes you just want someone to listen. Okay? And know that we're here for you, and there's someone in your life that wants to hear what you have to say and what you're going through. So don't ever feel like you're alone or by yourself. There's somebody who you can talk to. You just gotta find out who that person is. And they're not gonna tell everybody, they're not gonna blast all your business out in the street. As leaders, we gotta know how to step up. We have to set those healthy boundaries as leaders. So thank you for engaging. Any closing remarks for anybody? Anything from the gallery? Yeah. You're itching to step in? All right, well, thank you for your time, and I appreciate you.